up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about tanking in BFA. Alright, so the subject of tanking in BFA is a little bit iffy at the moment for me. It's beautiful in a way, and it's also a big problem from my point of view, to be completely honest. Remember, unlike in most other titles, World of Warcraft, the community perspective is a really big factor in what is popular and what the overall consensus of a certain type of class or a certain way of thinking is. For instance, if an X amount of people believe that paladins are terrible at tanking, if enough of people believe that, then the consensus of the community is that paladins are bad at tanking. While that most definitely doesn't mean that that's true, it also just means that people in general have a preconceived opinion about that class, therefore they do not want that class. So when we're talking about these feelings people have towards tanking in general right now, a large group of people feel a certain way about tanking, and a lot of other people feel another way about tanking. I don't really believe either one of them correct, but I believe they both have valid points to bring to the argument. Now, one of my favorite topics to talk about is actually the accountability of tanks. And one of the things I enjoyed the most about tanking back in Warlords of Draenor during Black Rock Foundry was that I really liked the fact that I had to communicate with my healers a lot and call for externals. Externals are something that the healers have that they use during the raid kind of off and on. And most raiding, if you're raiding in a heroic level, maybe if you're, not really too serious, a lot of times you'll have healers go through an entire fight and not even use their external ability. They'll just have it and they'll never use it, or maybe they'll use it for themselves, or maybe they'll use it on, maybe one guy at some point because they felt like they couldn't catch that guy enough. They felt like they couldn't catch that guy in time to heal him. But more so than not, externals are not used, or they're used inappropriately. One of the most refreshing things about raiding now and communicating with my healers and talking in my group is that now I feel like there's a sense of communication, a sense of cooperation throughout the team now, that externals are more of a needed necessity for certain tanks. Like I said before, a certain tank probably doesn't need an external. Maybe he's just really built well to handle magic mitigation or just mitigation in general in comparison to other tanks. And back in Legion, we were all pretty much built to mitigate damage. We were all pretty much built to take a hit. We were all, for the most part, safe, and we didn't really need externals pretty much at all throughout Legion. And in BFA, that's just not the case. These bosses hit really hard. They hit either really hard melee attacks or they do magic damage. And with the forefront of magic damage, the stat versatility has become a mandatory stat, far more than it was in Legion. In Legion, we take versatility if you guys wanted to play a little harder, maybe your progression rating, and you wanted to make sure you're just a little bit more beefier. But overall, you didn't take that stat because it didn't matter as much, because our mitigation talents were strong. Healers really understood, or they had really good abilities. The artifact weapon itself was a very good proponent to that made us stronger in general. But the lack of our artifact ability weakened us quite a bit. And then the addition to reducing all the magic mitigation, the overall mitigation that we had as classes, really contributed to us needing more help outside of just our own main mitigation. And because of all this, now 5-mans feel intimidating for tanking. I'm rarely ever autopiloting, and a lot of last expansion was me autopiloting. There wasn't a lot of thought that went into my mitigation, what abilities I need to use, what CDs I had to press in order to make myself not get hit as hard. Now, while I did do that most of the time, I just kind of ingrained in me because of all my experiences through WoD and my experiences through other expansions of tanking. In Legion, I really never felt like I had to really think much. I just performed well, and if I performed well, it was all good. The healers could cover any mistakes I'd make, and that's pretty much it. That's all that there was a worry for anything, is that I could do my job and almost self-sustain myself for the most part and not need to worry about the healers really ever at all. And there was hardly any communication between the healing team and me, and now that's just not a thing anymore. The intimidation that comes from a 5-man dungeon even is pretty big. The raiding environment is pretty intense for me now. Autopiloting, like I said, never occurs. I've never been to a point where I'm not always on edge thinking about the next move I'm going to make, thinking about the next tactic, thinking about the next external I'm going to need, thinking about the next ability I need to press in order to make myself not die. It is a constant struggle to live in a raid encounter now. And for me personally, I like that. I like that feeling. But I know that a lot of tanks don't right now. A lot of tanks really dislike the fact that they are dependent on someone else in order to live. A lot of tanks are used to being self-sustaining, like they were last expansion, where, you know, they didn't really need a healer for a lot of the things that they did. And I believe a lot of this has to do with the fact that, you know, the GCD change came in and the magic damage reductions from our main abilities just kind of went away. And the fact that GCD changes came in, all it meant really was that it forced us to think a lot more. It's forcing us to be more patient. It's forcing us not to press that attack over a mitigation ability. I've found myself messing up in several situations where I'll hit an ability and I can no longer hit my mitigation ability because I've hit another ability that causes my GCD to go up, and now I can't hit that CD I need because I've already hit an ability that caused all the other abilities going to GCD. And I think that combination of just not being used to how the GCD works, along with the fact that versatility is such a mandatory stat now, and magic damage is such a big in-your-face thing, that the tanks in general feel very squishy without certain builds, without certain gear, without certain people helping you out with externals. These things all contribute to making us feel like we are under the microscope. We are constantly battling through the roughage of desperately hitting our buttons and hoping to God we live. And I know that personally for me, raiding right now, I'm struggling with that, but I think that it's the most fun I've had in years tanking, is this back and forth between my healers and me, and just figuring out what I need to do to make myself not die, and that being the priority over anything else. Not DPSing. DPSing was always, like, you know, one of my second top most important things is just doing damage too as a tank. And I think that doing damage as a tank is important, but I like that I've been forced into the situation where I cannot prioritize damage. I cannot focus on that. I have to focus on living, because if I don't, we're not going to be able to do attempts on this boss. If I can't get past a certain part of the phase because I'm just taking too much damage, I really need to focus on not dying. And a lot of people are probably struggling with the same thing that I'm struggling with right now. I know a lot of people have issues with the way tanking is right now. The fact that, you know, that they have to depend on other people, it's a big deal to some people, and I don't blame them for that. I understand there's a lot of, when you're self-sufficient, you feel a lot of self-worth, and it's understandable that people would want to, you know, collapse on to tanks that do that job better, like paladins and monks, who perform way better than the other tanks right now, in my opinion. Those two tanks really push progression statuses right now. In my opinion, like, paladins do so much damage and mitigate and heal, and monks just are mitigation trucks in comparison to other tanks right now. Most tanks are just bog standard in their playstyles and their performance, and then you get to those two and they're pretty much top tier leading the pack, and it's kind of cool to see them both up there. But, you know, monks mostly being represented and paladins being mostly represented. I don't really see any other tank being clamored for as much as those two. But now that that's a big deal and these tanks are in the spotlight, all the other tanks that you play, you know, your druids, your death knights, your demon hunters, they all feel a little weaker in raid, and it feels, I guess, demoralizing to a degree whenever you see that your co-tank is performing way better than you, and maybe it has something to do with their class for the most part. Like, maybe it is their class that's carrying them through that, and that is frustrating. That is a frustrating thing to deal with, but it's also kind of nice to know that, you know, your off tank is doing well. You don't have to worry about them, and you just have to worry about your own job, and that's kind of nice. That's kind of a nice feeling. It's kind of stressful for them, I'm sure. Whoever your co-tank is must hate you. I'm sure mine does. is. But I really love the fact that I can differentiate that and try to focus on that one part of my job, which is living and trying to do my job by positioning properly, trying to get to trash fast, trying to get things done quick, trying to perfect all these things and then bring damage back up to the front of it all. But right now, in the way that the game is made, mitigation is such an important thing, and communicating with your healers is so important. I can't stress that enough. That's all I want to talk about, guys. I just wanted to let you guys know how I felt about tanks right now and how I've been feeling about them a lot lately. I hope you guys are having a great week. It's really great to get back into making videos more often and getting to recording. I love recording and I love doing this for you guys. I am terribly sick, if you can't tell. I am putting all my effort into trying to get this recording done because I'm trying to get a lot of things done today. I'm doing a whole bunch of homework for college and just getting stuff ready to make more videos, and I just sat down and started recording this today. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I can't wait to talk to you guys again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If you liked the video, like. If you disliked it, dislike the shit out of it, and leave a comment down below telling me what you guys thought about the video, what do you guys want from the next video, what do you guys want a continuation on. If you guys want some more stuff that I used to do in the past, let me know and I will get to it. I have been Amshady, I have been Amaranth, I have been everything that I am, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.
Drama.